Welcome everyone to the Goblins live show. Hope you're doing well. We've got an interesting show lined up for you this week, which is, I say interesting, it's incredibly infuriating actually, more than anything else. But again, Wifey's got her volume on again because she watches YouTube videos before the start of the
And I said this week I'm going to turn it down and I forgot. I'm so sorry. I'm going to stop doing that. Be fine.
Anyway, yeah, so all good to see you. And we're going to talk about how, insurance companies can be sneaky buggers. I was going to say something else, but yeah, they can be sneaky folk, insurance companies. So we're going to discuss that and, give you a few things to look out for if you're ever involved in an accident which involves shady insurance companies.
Yes.
Fun. All right, are you ready, Wifey?
Yep.
Let's roll the intro. How's it going, Wifey?
Yeah?
Did you up to anything interesting this week?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, nothing at all.
Is there something I should be mentioning? Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know, because it's like you're prompting, like you're expecting me to say something. No.
I don't know. I can't be the only one that's got interesting things going on. Which I don't.
I was going to say, what are you doing that I don't know about? No, I'm just working, aren't I?
Yeah, general work.
Just
Same old.
Boring stuff, really.
What videos did we release this
The
week?
reaction video. If you haven't seen that, that's a beauty.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, it's a good reaction video. It hasn't done very well. I think I'll have to change the
thumbnail.
Either the thumbnail and the title or what have you to try and draw some more views.
Because that editing is just golden.
It was pretty good.
That's my editing. Yeah. It's good. Especially I'm not going to say the bit I like, but yeah.
Dovestar Gaming, how you doing? 125 guy, how you doing? Mark, good to see you. Dovestar Gaming, good to see you. I said you already, didn't I? Dovestar Gaming in there twice. Welcome twice, yeah. I hope you're all doing well, guys. Thanks for joining us today. So I mean, what was Monday's video? I can't remember.
About the bikes.
No, that was Friday's video.
No,
Monday's video was about being a multi-bike owner, wasn't
about
it?
The bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but we have two videos out about the bikes.
Technically, whatever video you released was about bikes.
Yeah.
So I was right, regardless.
Yeah, two motorcycles.
Regardless, any videos about bikes. What is?
I don't know. Dogs eating something. I don't know.
Just like hear him just chomping away.
He'll be all right. He's just chewing on something. He's got a bowl of food down here as well, which he's not touching.
But it doesn't taste like flour,
no.
So he won't eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did that video and we released our comparison video, didn't we, last week on Friday?
Yes, that's had some interesting comments on it.
I haven't actually seen them all.
Have you not?
No, I need to get round to looking at them because before August, I was quite religiously going through all the comments and checking out people's feedback because I do appreciate feedback from people.
It's what shapes the channel, isn't it?
Yeah, so being involved with the community and all that and understanding the way how a community feels about a certain topic is quite important. And the one thing that I did see about comments coming in were about the 0 to 60 runs that I did.
Yeah.
I say in the video, like I'm not someone who pins the red line all the time on my bikes. If anything, I very rarely do, if ever. So I'm never ever like revving the hell out of my bikes. I never do. I never have done. I've never been that sort of rider. But people did give me flack for, I don't know, for those poor 0 to 60 times. I was like, guys, I knew I was going to do bad 0 to 60s. Like, come on. But not everyone is going to be a drag racer. Not everyone is going to be, redlining their bikes all the time.
Like
And it's dangerous. Whenever you're redlining a motorcycle that's even a 600cc, if you're redlining anything above a 600, then yeah, that's pretty scary quick. So yeah, and I don't know, it's just one of those things. I kind of knew I knew those kinds of comments were going to come up because I knew they were bad 0 to 60s.
But
When the spec sheet says 0 to 60s in under 3 seconds, you know, and you're doing them at 4 seconds, like, okay, all right, 1 second out, who cares?
But you say that you're a street rider, you're not a...
Yeah.
And these things are done by professional riders. They're not just done by
Yeah.
average... I've said before, they're not done by, you know, John down the road, who's a bit overweight and has been riding for, 5 years to and from work.
And that's the thing as well, like spec sheet performance numbers don't always reflect real world performance, especially because it all depends on skill level and all that stuff, you know. If you're not someone that is drag racing every other weekend, then no, you're probably never ever going to get the best 0 to 60 times on any motorcycle regardless. And the only reason why those 0 to 60 runs were in, not necessarily to see which one was faster, because I mean, even on the spec sheet the difference between the two was like 0.2 0.3 of a second between them, but for a normal rider, actually they're exactly the same as well. It makes no difference in terms of performance.
But also, it's very easy to sit behind your keyboard and go, "Oh, that was rubbish."
Yeah.
Can they do any better? That is the question.
Well, I'm sure there are lots of people that could do better.
I know, but the average person who doesn't respect their bike, you're not going to let them kind of just rag the
I don't know.
crap out of your bike, are you?
I don't like going hard on the clutch. I don't like going hard on the accelerator, because it's just not worth it, especially when it's two bikes that you love, that you really love and you try to look after and stuff. You don't redline them all the time. And I don't know. See, again, I don't know if looking at comments is a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you look at some comments because you want to know the feedback that people give you on a particular video or something, but then you also get the comments that are just ultra sarcastic, ultra mean, and they're just like, you know,
keyboard
you might as well not have bothered releasing that video because you did this wrong or something. And it's like, I don't really care, as long as I'm providing value to a viewer, even if it's just one person. If it's one person that's given value to, then I'm happy. And but I don't know, I think some people just kind of misunderstood the point of those 0 to 60s. It wasn't about which one could do it faster. It was actually more about how both of them are basically the same.
But I'm not...
'Cause I knew that going into the 0 to 60s. I knew that my 0 to 60 runs were going to be poor, and I also knew that they were both going to be basically the same.
But I'm not being funny. For those people, and it really infuriates me and it gets my goat a little bit, when people are like, "Oh, you should release that video." At least we're out here bloody trying. At least we're trying to do something and bring a community together. What are you doing? Probably sitting on your bum eating shortbreads or a cup of tea. Like, no, just get on my face. No.
Yeah. No. Mark, don't talk about Friday's video.
Yeah, it's a sore spot, isn't it?
Well, no, I mean, I was just trying to be honest. I mean, in terms of the way they both ride, I think they both ride really, really well, and I think they're both outstanding machines. And I said that in my conclusion, that you can't go wrong with either of these motorcycles, except the only reason why one bike won over the other is because it's simply more modern.
And let's be honest.
And that's kind of, I think that's true for almost any motorcycle. One that came out in 2020 versus one that came out even 5-10 years prior. The 2020 one's obviously going to be newer.
And you wouldn't have it if you didn't love it.
No, of course not.
Like,
no, and even without the all the electronics and all that stuff, I still love that ZZR. I still love it. And funnily enough, tomorrow's video is going to be one that I'm hoping some people will appreciate. Because again, it's talking about a very, very similar subject in the sense that, you don't need all this modern tech stuff to enjoy yourself on a motorcycle. And I'm not going to give it away because, it's quite a heartfelt video, the one that's coming out tomorrow. But, double-edged sword with people's comments and stuff. But,
I think that's the thing, though, when you put anything on the internet, your life, your relationship, your opinion, there's going to be someone who just wants to tear you down because they've got nothing better to do with their time.
I tried not to be subjective throughout the whole video. The only subjective part of that video, in my opinion, was the first bit about the look and the way they sounded, because that's all personal preference. But I mean, in terms of the way how they both rode, their performance and all that stuff, is pretty objectively, again, objectively correct, and also the fact that the ZH2 is just more modern is also objectively correct. You know, there's no subjectivity in that whatsoever.
The HS2, the H2 is more modern.
Yeah.
It came out a lot later, or it's a much
Yeah.
newer bike. I don't know. I think that's the one thing that I've said to you recently is, you know, do you worry about putting certain things on the internet? And it doesn't bother you. It bothers me more than I think it bothers you.
I don't know. I don't like putting out stuff that is bad, that doesn't have value or does some sort of value.
I don't mean that. I mean like your opinions.
Well,
do you ever worry, like you say something and you go, oh, I might re-record that because it's too opinionated?
Sometimes I have had that before in the past, where I've got a video idea that I think, oh yeah, this will be interesting, but actually it turns out that either a lot of people will disagree with me, or there'll be some what's the word? I can't think of the word, but I keep thinking lashback, but that's not. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Do you know what the word is?
It's on the tip of my tongue. I know what you're trying to say.
Anyway, yeah, like we'd end up getting quite a lot of, I don't know, negative stuff from it, and we have had videos like that where people have responded very negatively to it. But it's I don't know. It's one of those things where a lot of the time you're trying to test the waters, and you're trying to figure out what people find interesting, what people find entertaining, and what people don't. And sometimes videos like that come out, but I think the longer we do this, the more we backlash.
Thank you, Mark.
Backlash. Bloody hell, it's right.
You had it. It was just the wrong way around.
Lashback, just the other way around. Yeah. Yeah, it's. I think we're getting better in what we think is valuable, what we think is interesting.
Because I think you have to kind of separate from what we think would be interesting, what we would watch, to actually what you guys would want to see.
I'll tell you about a few videos that never ever saw the light of day, and you guys can tell me if this is something you want to see. But for us, or for me, I didn't want to publish them for a number of reasons. But I think there's 3 videos in total I think that I haven't released. One was about motorcycle helmets. Basically, because I like to play devil's advocate a lot as well. You know, like I like to sometimes talk about subjects that are divisive or challenge the status quo, things like that. And one of them was about motorcycle helmets and how, you know, I wish I had the choice to not wear a motorcycle helmet if I wanted to, despite how stupid that might sound. If I didn't want to wear a motorcycle helmet, I should be allowed to do it. And it was all about that. And I thought, no, I'm not going to release that because, again, it's just going to get too much backlash. And because everyone's all about the safety and all that stuff. And I get it. I absolutely, you know, always wear your helmet. You know, it's just the thing that you always say to a rider. You always wear your damn helmet. You always wear your gear. But it's just, again, coming at it from a different point of view. I mean, I'd be quite happy living as an American in a state where you didn't have to wear helmets. I'd be happy because at least if I wanted to protect myself,
it was a choice.
It's a choice. It's not something I had to do by law. There was another video about the kind of the way how decisions are made around the motorcycle industry and who makes those decisions. You know, government, people, basically people who represent, who are supposed to be representing our community or our industry, and whether or not they're actually looking out for our own interests, or if they're just looking at things from either a business perspective or a political perspective, things like that. Again, that's another video that I'm probably never going to release. And there was one more video that this was really early on. This was perhaps in the first few weeks of actually starting the channel, and that was purely about motorcycles that I would love to own one day.
Yeah,
never released it.
That one's always been floating around in the back of our heads, hasn't it? That particular video.
And that video is out of date now as well.
Yeah, because now it's updated, isn't it? I mean, you could.
But yeah.
I mean, not being funny, it's probably a good idea we didn't release that video because I don't think it'd be less than 2.5 hours long. With the amount of bikes you'd love to own.
Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
these are just. I filmed a lot like that. So those 3 videos are actually videos that I have edited and they're actually on YouTube. They're actually there. I've uploaded them. I've gone through the effort of producing those videos, but just deciding not to release them. And I think it's just one of those things that a lot of content creators have to go through, where they have to be a bit
selective.
Not selective, but hypercritical of the work that they make. And it's the right thing to do, because it means that you care. You know, if there's a video that you put a load of effort into and you think actually right at the last minute after you've made it, you think, no, I don't think that's good enough to go live.
I mean, the amount of times you come back from a ride and you go, I don't know if that was good enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
and I've been out more than once as well. If I shoot a video once and I think, oh no, that's bad, I need to go out and do it again, then I will. I mean, actually, that's one of the scariest things about doing a live show, is the fact that whenever you say something, you can't go back. There's no editing. This is it. What we say is going to be on YouTube forever. I mean, I suppose we can delete the video, but we never will.
Heard by people.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless there was something really controversial about a particular show that we did that, you know, we thought, oh no, we'll have to set it to private or something. We have to take it down. We have to pull it. I mean, then we will. But we haven't had to do that yet. And I don't ever intend to be honest, because I don't know. I always wanted to do something live because I always thought it was a good opportunity to just be upfront with people about certain things. Yeah, just be ourselves, you know.
And I think this is the thing before we move on, because we spent almost 20 minutes talking about this.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's I think the hardest thing that I'm having to come to terms with, and I'm having to kind of get around, is what people think of me and how people perceive me and what they say. Because I've had some filthy comments left on videos, and I've had some stuff where I've gone, oh, I want my mum to see that.
But you have to care about it, because you have to care about your image, kind of thing.
I know, but the thing is, there's certain comments that we get, and I've had to kind of separate them from actual my emotions. And I think that's been my hardest part. I mean, this is great because this has really got my confidence up with talking to people and opening me up a little bit and, like, you know, bring me out my shell. But people's opinion of me has always been something I've struggled with. This is really like being a bit of a crash course in feeling okay about yourself. I think you're actually highlighting something that I'm feeling, because I said earlier in the show that I haven't been looking at comments an awful lot. And I think it's because of that fear that you're really worried about what people are saying about you. And, you know, because if you put a lot of effort into something, it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's absolute rubbish. If you put your heart and soul into a project and someone says it's rubbish, then you're always going to feel bad about it. It's like with the comparison video, not the race video, sorry. The minute that came out, I was checking it every 20 minutes to half an hour, because I wanted to know what people thought. But at the same time, I was a little bit nauseous, because I was like, what are people going to think that we've done something a little bit different? So it's an interesting venture, YouTube. I don't know how we got onto there, so my apologies. I think I started that.
I mean, it's an interesting topic anyway.
It's not something we've ever...
Maybe something we can discuss further later on.
It's not something we've ever I don't think we've ever shown our vulnerability, so to speak, to these guys.
Yeah, well, it's always things that are in the back of your mind. I mean, when you care about something, then it's important to get it right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like releasing rubbish. That's the thing.
It takes a long time to build a reputation, a split second to ruin it.
Yeah.
And I think
doesn't that ring true?
And that is something we have to kind of be aware of.
Been the fall of many a business, isn't it?
And Rome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so the topic of today's show. Sorry for
rambling.
Getting sidetracked.
Cathartic, though. I loved that. That's so good.
Main topic of today's show is actually about an article that we've read on Ride magazine. Now, the wifey's dad, he's a subscriber to Ride magazine. And every now and then, he sends them over to us if there's anything interesting. And this is something that actually, if you try searching for it in Google, you can't find any information about it anywhere. Maybe if you look in the depths, you'll be able to find something.
We were both doing it, lots of different terms and phrases.
It's all this stuff is hidden behind other things.
Yeah.
And Right. So a load of people, including me, already think that insurance is a scam to begin with. Yeah. Just the fact that by law you have to insure something. I understand why that is the case, but your contract with an insurance company should be, if I get in an accident, you will pay for it. And that's it. That should be the extent of your business with an insurer. But no, because insurance companies aren't service companies, they don't provide a service, they're a financial company. This is where everything starts to unravel even more than people initially thought. Yes, go on.
Sorry, it's a small sidetrack. You know how car insurance and motorbike insurance is compulsory? Do you know what isn't? Animal insurance.
Yeah, pet insurance.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just a random thing. I find it really bizarre. But anyway, we're not an animal channel. So
yeah, I mean,
continue.
there are some people as well that argue that cyclists should have insurance and they should be taxed and they should be registered.
Like personal liability insurance or something? Or
something,
like
because if a cyclist causes damage to your car or to your bike, or they knock your bike over, technically they have no liability over it. But you have all the liability.
In that case, and this is just devil's advocate, just thinking off, top of the noggin, you could argue a case for pedestrian insurance.
Yeah.
Because a pedestrian can just walk on and just push your
just
bike.
Road
or just push you off your bike.
road user insurance. Yeah. You could make an argument for that. I'm not saying I'm not saying that that's the position that I hold. But anyway, so this one particular article was all about a guy who rode his motorcycle and he got rear-ended.
Do you want me to read it?
I didn't want to read the whole thing because it's quite big.
It's quite lengthy.
Lengthy.
Shall I go through the Cliff Notes version?
Well, I mean, I can do it. And then we'll talk about what the response was.
Yeah,
but basically, this guy. So Ride Magazine have this service where you can write a letter to Ride Magazine, and they will have a legal expert analyze what the situation is and what have you. Where do you stand basically legally in this situation? And so this guy, he got rear-ended on his bike. He got rear-ended. It should have been a clear-cut case where
open shut.
Like always, if you get rear-ended, the classic thing is the person who rear-ended you. Obviously, it's their fault.
Yeah.
Regardless of the situation. And so that should have been clear-cut. But then later on, he finds out that the insurance company, well, actually, I'm not sure if it is the insurance company, but an accident management company is contacting him about his claim. And there's documentation that he needs to sign and stuff like that. And he refuses to sign it.
Shall I say what it said in it?
Yeah, go for it.
So he said, the company has sent me a document for electronic signature, which I nearly signed, and says they will store my bike for me, but I will have to pay for it, as opposed to storage in my garage.
And he had fully comp insurance, by the way, as well.
I will pay the charges for recovery. I'm fully comp insured, so why am I paying this? I will be paying for repairs fully comp. They then go on to say they will get a commission on the work they ship out to a body shop, which I authorise to keep.
And he has to pay for storage of the bike as well.
I also get to pay for the engineer's fees to get repairs on my own fully comp bike being carried out. What they did say, they also said to him that they will pay him £25,000. And bearing in mind, this guy is a manual labourer. He's skilled, something like that. And he skilled worker. He fractured his elbow. The £25,000 was less than a year's take-home pay, and he had to be off work for 6 months. So he's being screwed from all angles.
And the fees that he's so-called getting would have to come out of that £25,000 compensation. Mm. So he's wondering what the hell has happened here. Like, I'm paying for a fully comp insurance policy. Why on earth? And it's not even my fault. So why is my insurance company or me having to pay for anything when it's clearly the third party's fault? Again, clear-cut case. Because if you don't know how insurance works, the way how it's supposed to work is third-party insurance insures you for if you damage someone else's car or motorcycle. If you damage your own vehicle, you are liable to pay for the cost of repairing that vehicle. But if someone else damages you, damages you. If someone else crashes into you, then it's up to their insurance company to fork out the cash to pay for your damages. That's what third party is. So your insurance company is only liable for the people you crash into, effectively. Fully comp is supposed to be both. It's supposed to be good for both. So if someone crashes into you, then obviously it's paid for. But if you crash into somebody else, then it's also paid for. That's what fully comp is supposed to do. It's supposed to cover you on every base. That's why a lot of people would recommend to get fully comp insurance. I've had years where I've just had third party insurance. This is when I started riding, and as long as you don't, mess up, then you'll be okay. But anyway, so basically what this guy found out, that the insurance company had actually sold or was trying to sell his claim to another company. Again, because this is all financial stuff. Banks, they sell debts onto other companies all the time. It's standard practice. But the fact that an insurance company, even though it's so-called an insurance company, it's not, it's a financial services company, they are allowed somehow to sell this claim, this debt, onto another company, which is turning around and saying, oh no, actually we're not going to pay for all this, we're not liable for this. And that would have been the case if he signed that document
without reading it. Just, I don't know if you've mentioned this or if you have. The article in this is that someone writes in and then they have a lawyer.
Yeah, I've said that. Yeah.
Sorry, I clearly zoned out. I'll say it again. They have a lawyer that answers them.
Yeah, they have a legal expert that answers their question, basically.
It says all of their lawyers ride. They get company bikes, not company cars, and that made me smile.
Nice. So this is where kind of like, as insurance, as simple as the whole concept of insurance should be, these companies, it doesn't actually say who the companies are in this article. That's the only thing that I wish I knew about this story, is who the actual companies were, because then we would know then.
Steer clear.
Yeah, to stay clear of these particular firms. But the thing is, though, is that I can't help but think that this is a standard practice that a lot of insurance companies do.
I think it's something my dad said a while ago, was that he was he heard of this company, I think it was a car insurance, a motorcycle insurance company, that went bust overnight, but they didn't tell everyone straight away. So people were going out without any insurance because they weren't being notified. And
who'd be liable for that?
The rider or the driver.
The person driving.
Yeah.
Not the company, even though they weren't notified that they didn't have any insurance.
Because they went insolvent overnight.
See, the thing is, though, is I struggle to believe that, because I would have thought it'd be covered by the underwriters.
Well, no, if you can't pay, if you go insolvent, nothing's covered.
Yeah, but what? Because whenever you buy insurance, you don't actually buy it from the insurance company. They actually create an application for an insurance underwriter, and then the underwriter is the one that actually approves the sale of this insurance policy. And you don't actually get your money from the insurer. I believe you get the money from the underwriter. So I suppose there'd be a way of getting your money if you were in a crash. You'd still be insured, because even if you look at insurance documents, it's actually the underwriter that is titled on documents. Not just the company that's trying to sell you the insurance. The insurance company is like a middleman almost. The responsibility stays
with the insurance company, not the underwriter.
True.
So it wouldn't be the underwriter's responsibility. It would be the insurance company's responsibility to pay out.
True.
So I don't think...
That's a real tough one.
Because when selling home insurance back in the day, it was very much the underwriter wrote the policy, which we had to adhere to, and we had to make sure that everyone was aware of the terms. And if you pressed this price went there, and it was all very automated. It was like a preset. So every time you've gone to get insurance, it hasn't gone to an underwriter to be checked. It's just the policies come out approved by the underwriter.
Because of course you have more experience in this. Who actually pays for claims? Is it the underwriter, or is it the insurance company themselves that pay for claims?
I think it's the insurance company. I think underwriter just write the policy. They don't have anything to do with the claiming side of it.
But I'm sure that the money that is like
It's like a loan.
who holds the risk is what I'm trying to say.
The insurance company.
But then
It's
it's so weird how this all works.
It's basically it's like an unsecured loan.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So,
but that loan is provided by the underwriter, right?
It's provided by the whoever. So, like when, for instance, I was selling it at the bank were the ones who held the risk. They were the ones who lent me the money, and I was paying them back.
Yeah.
So the financial claim sits with the bank.
But then it kind of But then
So, like,
why do all insurers have to go to an underwriter? By the way, there's a really small number of underwriters compared to the amount of insurance companies that there are. There's like, 5 or 6, maybe 10 underwriters. But that's the thing. There's so much of this shady practice that a lot of people don't actually know. And it's because it's treated as financial risk, not actually a risk to a possession or something that you own, i.e. a motorcycle or a car, or it could be jewelry or a games console. It doesn't really matter.
So underwriting agencies don't insure risks themselves. They assess risk on behalf of an insurer.
I see. Okay.
That makes sense?
Okay, so basically then the underwriters just turn around and say, yeah, that's an acceptable risk.
So we'll accept the business. Like you haven't crashed and you haven't stolen 900 cars the last year. You're okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Bank, Mr. Carol Nash, you can insure this person. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Okay. But the risk will stay. The money, financial side stays with the company itself.
Gotcha. So the underwriters are not involved in claims whatsoever. So this is all down to the insurance companies that are selling this debt onto other companies, and they're known as accident management companies. And again, there's no specifics on who these people are, but basically, it's almost like debt recovery agencies, like
loan sharks.
well, kind of, but it's like, if you get a fine, this happened to me before, where this is where we were living, not in this house, this is in our previous house, and it was a leasehold property, and there was a parking area for the residents, and we were living there for 4 or 5 years.
About that, yeah.
4 or 5 years. For excuse me. For 2 or 3 of those years, I'd been parking my car in front of my garage because, well, everyone else was doing it. It wasn't an issue. It didn't cause any obstructions, and it wasn't like that. But because there was a sign on one of the walls that said that any cars are only allowed to park in designated bays, that all of a sudden one day gave a private parking moron to stick a ticket on my car. And I refused to pay it, basically, because I was like, well, I've been here for 2 or 3 years and I parked my car in this exact same spot for that length of time. It hasn't been a problem. Why is it a problem now? And I never got an answer for that anyway. But this company that actually gave me the ticket, because I refused to pay it, they actually sold that debt onto another company who actually ended up taking me to court and a small claims court and all that stuff to recover the funds. But it didn't go to the private parking enforcement company. It went to the solicitors, or the legal company that have bought this debt, basically. And it's the same thing again. It's a load of nonsense, but it's all just ways of other companies making a quick buck off something else. Like if they think that they're able to recover the money, then they'll buy that debt off of whoever. I ended up losing that case, unfortunately, which was a real shame. But yeah, and it's one of the motivations behind us actually moving out in the end. I think within about 6 months of all that concluding, I think we made the decision that this ain't worth it. We're just gonna move house.
Plus my poor Peugeot.
I got broken into as well.
Got broken into for the rate for all 4 an aftermarket crappy radio, which I then replaced for about £15.
No, it was worth about 10 quid on eBay.
Yeah.
Someone broke into the car just for that. For 10 quid. Not even 10 quid because used. It probably would have been worth 3 quid.
It was do you know what the really sad thing was? It was my first car, wasn't it? That was all mine. We'd gone together, we'd bartered down. I think we only spent about £300 on it. because it was my first car having passed my test. So it was like
Well, no, the car was £700 that we bought. We paid
£700.
we paid about 750.
It was literally that if I backed it into a post, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But it was such a fun little car. It was a Peugeot 206, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great little car.
It was a Peugeot 206 Sport. Beg your pardon. It was Sport because it sounded like a lawnmower. It was ridiculous.
I don't know. I think they just called it.
Well,
whatever.
Made me feel better. But I had to sell it after. I just didn't feel like my car anymore. Some weirdo had been in there, still in my radio.
Yeah. Yeah, it's anyway. Yeah, sorry, we're getting sidetracked again.
We're doing good at that.
Talk about other things. But yeah, so I mean, we want to highlight this because we try to do our due diligence. We try to go out onto the internet to try to actually find out whether or not this is something that is happening on a regular basis, which I'm sure it is, but whether or not you can find out any information about it. And trust me, we were looking for a while and we couldn't find anything that related to this article here. So clearly it's one of those practices that hardly anyone knows about. And a lot of people, I bet you, in this guy's situation would have just signed the document because they would have assumed that that's what they had to do.
That it's all above board
when
and normal.
Actually, because he didn't sign it, it means that the insurance company were not able to sell this claim onto this other company, because the insurers themselves, like the wife who was saying, are holding the risk. They are holding on to the risk, which means that if something happens to you and you need to claim, they are the ones responsible for that claim. And yeah, it looks like as a result of this, the insurance company is now actually forking out the money, which actually is apparently more than £25,000. I mean, there's a few other reasons for that, but so he got his bike paid for and all the repairs and everything paid for. He would have paid an excess, of course, because that's how all insurance companies work. You have to pay an excess. But basically everything seems to be okay now. But the biggest issue for this one person in particular, again, the wife who kind of alluded to it earlier, was that this person is a labourer, so he needs to be in fit physical condition in order to work. And the fact that he was quoted £25,000 for damages, which all the repairs and everything he would have had to have paid for himself out of that £25,000, wouldn't cover the 6 months that he'd be out of work. And of course, well, companies that hire labourers, they're not going to hold on to staff for that long if they simply can't work. So he would have been on sick pay for whatever the statutory term was, and that would have been it. It doesn't say in here whether or not he has lost his job, but he could potentially lose his job. And £25,000, which is probably going to be more like £5,000 by the end of it, isn't going to cover that 6 months of damages to himself. So this is one of those things, guys. If you're ever involved in an accident, if it's your car, your motorcycle, whatever, that involves insurance companies, just keep an eye out for any documentation that that's sent to you that doesn't actually have that your insurer doesn't have them titled on the documentation or what have you. Yeah, if you get anything like that is remotely suspicious, just contact your insurance company directly and say, look, I got this thing through the post. What is it? And then they have to tell you what it is. And then you can make a decision whether or not then that it's a good idea to sign the document or not. But just remember that it should be your insurance company that should be dealing with it. They shouldn't be selling it on to anyone else. And if they are, then you're going to get screwed. If you allow them to do it anyway. I think that's the only saving grace with this, is that you actually have the choice, but you have to be aware that this kind of stuff can happen. And if you sign the wrong piece of paper and you send it to them, well, that's when you could be in trouble.
Yes. Shall we have an ad break and then look at the comments?
Yes.
Mark,
yeah.
Kindly remind us again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, no, we'll have a quick little break here, and then we'll take a look at what you guys have been saying, because we've got a lot to go through.
A lot of activity in there.
So we will see you all in just a moment.
It's like a dead weight on one leg today. His bottom is just on my right leg, but a lot of his weight's on the one leg, and I think he's going to slip if he's not careful.
Yeah, probably.
Whoa. Right.
Now, I do wish that on here we actually see the ad break as well, because then we would know when we could come back and when we can't.
Well, I've skipped it.
So, yeah, we actually have to keep an eye on the stream itself. So the wifey's looking at the stream live, and I've got the stream quality or the stream health live on here, and they're separate. Oh, I don't know. But maybe there's a way to do it. But anyway, so, yeah, it's insurance is a scam, and more of a scam than I think anyone realised ever.
But it's something we can't avoid.
But yeah, something we cannot avoid. So yeah, let's have a look here what you guys are up to. Hey, call on, good to see you, mate. 125 guy, good to see you. Who else in the chat? Bike Herb, good to see you. How you doing? David Rowe, good to see you. Who else? Travis, good to see you, mate. How you doing? Who else we got in the chat? Is that everybody? Jim P, good to see you, mate. Yeah, got a lot of faces in the chat there. So yeah, welcome. Thank you everyone for leaving your comments in here. Let's have a look. Let's see. 125 guy, your your gearbox is gone. Damn. Man, so you got Dope Style Gaming who had an engine blow up, and now you got 125 guy that's got his gearbox blowing up. Damn. Crazy. Well, I hope that gets fixed.
And Corlon's currently
quickly
fixing up
for
their
you.
bike as well.
Oh, Jesus. Man, what is it, like the time of year or something?
Things happen in threes though.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's the three.
Yeah, everyone's bikes just break down in October or September or whenever.
Yeah, just before Christmas. Always convenient.
Yeah, always, isn't it?
Mm.
Dope Style Gaming, I wouldn't fret over comments. You've already said you're not a drag racer nor practice the craft. Half the people that said those things probably don't even ride, let alone do a better time than you. Thank you, mate. That was when we were talking about the Friday's video. The
Drag race, not drag race, but
0 to 60 runs.
timing.
Yeah, no, I know. That's something that I think a lot of content creators have to come to terms with, is knowing when to listen to comments, knowing when to listen to valid feedback and when not to. But yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, is that your feelings still get hurt regardless. So
You put a lot of time into thinking of
I
the
might-
video and
I
things like
might do a not a reaction.
that. A reveal.
No, not reveal. Oh damn! I can't think of my words. This has happened so much recently, where even like when I've been out on rides, I have a sentence that I'm coming towards the end of saying my sentence, and there's a word that I can't think. It just goes, not calling out, but kind of release a video basically proving that I can do better 0 to 60s. You know, just do a few practice runs off camera and stuff, and then actually do
you feel like
some
you
real
need to
0
do that
60s.
though?
I don't know. Maybe that's just me being childish, but see how close a normal person can actually get to the 0 to 60 on the spec sheet. That would be interesting.
I think at some point we should do a
that'll be
video and
interesting.
highlight some of these comments that we get. Maybe around Christmas as a treat.
Well, that is actually a video that I thought about as well. Yeah, maybe on a live show, is reacting to
Some of the comments.
to nasty comments because they're always funny.
Yeah.
There you go, bud.
React to some interesting ones and some nasty ones and
Oh yeah, there's been loads.
see what you guys think.
Oh, that was it actually. No, there was a video a few weeks ago where I mentioned about someone that made a comment on a particular video, but I wanted to get a capture of that comment and put it actually on the video, but I couldn't find it.
Think they deleted it?
Maybe, but I couldn't find it, which is a bit annoying.
Mm.
125 guy, the video when it broke is on my channel. Oh, okay, we'll have to check that out. The gearbox going down. So yeah, we'll have a look at that. Call on. I did like the comparison. Short of actually being able to try them both out, I still prefer the ZZR. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that I try and encourage all the time, is that it doesn't matter what a reviewer, what anyone says to you about a particular motorcycle. If you're interested in any of the bikes that are shown, test ride them yourself. Make sure that you are getting the right bike for you, because what my opinion might be of a particular bike isn't necessarily going to be reflective of everybody.
I think
So-
you're just in a very fortunate position where you can have two.
Yeah, that I
And you
could
wanted
actually
to-
compare them back to back.
Yeah, it wasn't a case of I've got to get back to a dealership or what have you. It was that I can take my time and I can really give you an honest review of someone who's been riding this for over a
These
year.
are motorcycles that I've invested in. These are motorcycles that I have paid my hard-earned money to get. So yeah, I mean, it's clearly I love both of them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sunk so much money into them.
Well, sometimes I say to you, which bike are you taking out? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. And you kind of
Yeah.
deliberate for 5 minutes. You go, I'm going to take that one.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Call on backlash. None from me. I prefer as much gear as I can, but I'll judge no one for who does otherwise. I think that's in reference to
the helmets. And
talking about helmets.
Mm.
The video that probably won't see the light of day.
Because David has a comment saying, "Be you, man. I respect it when people can own their opinion. I'm in America and have that choice to wear a helmet. Do you wear a helmet?
Yeah. Oh, I bet you.
As a
I bet you he does.
curiosity.
I bet you he does.
Do you wear it all the time, or like, do you?"
Yeah.
I'm just curious, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I've said this before as well. It's a video that didn't do very well, actually. But yeah, when I was talking about quad bikes, because we've had experience with quad bikes before on holiday once.
That was good fun.
And didn't have to wear a helmet. So, I mean, I'm sure that it's a positive, well, not positive, but something that is attractive to certain people, that they can ride a quad bike without wearing a helmet. And you see it a lot. People riding tricycles, people riding quads, they never wear a helmet, or very rarely wear a helmet. And you think that looks so weird. Like, you should be wearing a helmet. But you don't have to. Bike curb. In Greece, when I was a nipper, we didn't have to wear helmets on rented scooters. It felt good. But I wouldn't want to crash without one. Exactly.
That's interesting.
Exactly.
On rented scooters, you didn't have to.
I think it's the same in Italy as well.
Oh, really? So you've got a Vespa, you didn't have to
I think
mess
so.
up your hair and wear a helmet.
Well, because we're in the middle of watching
Our Man in Italy.
Our Man in Italy, James May. It's quite good. It's been quite good so far. But Italy's just such a beautiful country.
Because we watched Our Man in Japan, didn't we? And we
Yeah.
loved that. So we were like, we know
Yeah.
he's going to do a good job. In Italy, you're really annoying me when we're watching this at the moment. Because
this is new to me.
because no, you know it is. You know because I said this yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I really want to go to Italy, and every time he goes, "Oh, I've been there. It's beautiful." I'm like, "Will you just shut up?"
Yeah,
Because I
it's
haven't
gorgeous.
been. And he
It's
goes, "Oh, I've been in there, and it's like this." I'm just shut up. I really want to go.
But yeah, anyway, my
Sorry.
point was
Yeah.
we're watching this TV show, and I'm pretty sure I've seen people riding around on scooters without any helmets on.
I haven't noticed, but
So
quite possibly, yeah.
yeah. every now and then we hear birds or cats walking along the roof. This is the flat roof, this little studio that we've got.
Yeah.
So yeah, every now and then, we just hear footsteps and like, what's that? Travis, when you stop caring what others think of you, that's when you start succeeding. Yeah, I think that's true.
I think it's getting to that point though. Can be a bit of a struggle for me anyway. I don't know about you, but
This is
you've gotta
hard
have-
for
you've
me
gotta have thick
because
skin.
I do agree with that, but at the same time, you do have to care about your audience. So if there's a legitimate comment or a legitimate concern from a viewer that actually subscribes to you and they enjoy your content and what have you, you need to listen to them. And that's the conflict I always have in my head is, if I read a negative comment, do I take it seriously? Of course, you have to take it seriously, but do you let it go, or how do you, what's the best way to approach this particular comment? And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard because I care about my audience. I really do. And whenever someone says something that insults your intelligence or insults your creative ability or insults you in any way, it's gonna affect you. I mean, I remember when we did the Tewkesbury Medieval Festival, and I recorded that because it's an event that we go to quite regularly. It's a really fun day out.
Near enough every year, don't we?
Yeah, if anyone's in the Gloucestershire area or in the surrounding
Hereford, anywhere
counties,
like that.
Hereford, yeah, definitely go and check out the Tewkesbury Medieval Festival. It's always in June, isn't it?
July.
Is it June, July time? I can't remember, but it's a really, really good day out. And I filmed it, and I filmed the battle reenactment and everything, and And someone, and I knew this was an issue because whilst I was editing it, I didn't like this. I hated it. But it's one of those things you can only film once. You can't film it more than once. And the camera kept going out of focus. It's really annoying how it kept on doing that. And I was trying to constantly hold the camera up above the crowd and trying to make sure that it's in focus. It was impossible. But yeah, someone left a comment saying something sarcastic. I think it was something along the lines of all this modern technology and you can't keep it in focus. It's like, dude, clearly you haven't used a Canon SLR camera mirrorless, have you?
Holding it above your head for over half an hour straight.
But that kind of comment is a comment that is reflective of the way how I was feeling about that video, because I felt the same way. I was like, damn, why is it not in focus? I got really frustrated by it, and I really wanted to release it. So, because it's a good event, it's a really good event. It's really fun. What it said.
Modern tech, but you still worked hard to get it out of focus.
That was it, yeah.
But
there you go.
Someone turned around and said, not happy with your free content.
Brilliant.
And then someone turned up and went, grow up, mate.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad.
So we had a bit of support on that one.
I'm glad that some people, they stuck up for us there.
Yeah. So.
Because again, there used to be a time where I would reply to negative comments, and I've stopped doing that now because you just end up going down a rabbit hole, and
you react to it, and
you're never in the right.
You never win.
If you ever stand up for yourself in social media of any kind, you're always going to have just that group of people that will target you. They will literally target you, and they'll be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And anything you say, they'll just whatever. And then they'll just keep insulting you. They'll keep calling you, saying how stupid you are and stuff like that. And it's just, whatever. When you try having a constructive discussion with someone who is thinking negatively about something, you can't have that with these people.
Because as soon as you react to it, you're in the wrong. You're bullying. You're being mean, regardless what it is they've said to begin with. You are the one that's, and I think this is a thing that, we won't go into it now. Well, maybe we'll do another live show about this, but that's what I struggle with.
Yeah. Those Gaming, please don't take the comments personally. It really is just people with no tact that would never care to say half the things on their mind.
In real life.
Don't let those types get to
They're
you.
keyboard warriors.
Well, thing is, I have, when I've watched videos in the past on YouTube, I have left negative comments on a particular subject, whether if it's I disagree with something, whether if it's because I think they made an obvious error. I remember actually, I was looking at buying. It was the dictaphone that we've got, the Sony dictaphone. It's in the house, but that's what I used to use to record the audio inside the helmet. This is before I actually had the mic adapter for the GoPros. And before I bought this dictaphone, I was looking around for reviews of competing ones, to make sure that it's good and everything. And there was this one video that I came across, and I can't remember what the channel was. And I was like, oh, great, these are two dictaphones that I'm looking at. I'm looking at buying. Which one's better? And the main thing I wanted to know was the sound quality. Obviously, that's like one of the most obvious things.
Well, what do you buy a dictaphone for? Not to look at it.
Exactly. You want to know the quality of the recording that it can capture. They didn't review that. And so I left a comment. I said, look, the most obvious thing that you needed to review, the reason why I was here to watch this video was to hear the quality of the sound recording. And then they responded and said, oh, they both sound the same, so I didn't think it was worth mentioning. It's like, that's all you have to say. Literally, just one line in the video. You just have to say, in terms of sound quality or recording quality, they are both exactly the same. And I would have been satisfied with that.
But there's a difference between leaving a negative comment and leaving a disrespectful comment.
Yeah, I didn't reply after they responded, but
you got your answer, really, didn't you? So you didn't need to go back and
I did,
start fighting over it.
But I watched the whole video.
How long
and it was
the video?
About 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
I spent 10 minutes of my life watching a video looking for one piece of information that they never gave me, which I think is one of the most obvious bits of information. But the thing is, I also come at this stuff, with that same critical eye myself. Or I try to, as much as possible. The problem is when you're creating content, criticizing your own work sometimes can be very difficult. Like there will, and I appreciate this, that there will be things that you will miss. There'll be errors that you will miss because you're trying to create this video, you're trying to do it well, and there'll be something that you miss. I mean, we've had times like that before. where I've said something that is incorrect, and you can't change the video. So instead, the thing I like to try and do is create a pinned comment. A pinned comment at the top. So if there is a piece of information that someone is looking for or that isn't quite right, then I'll try and correct it in that comment.
There was a video we did together where shortly after we did it, something was updated. So the information we gave about a certain thing was wrong.
Yeah,
so we pinned a comment and said, guys, this is correct. When we made the video, it's now updated. It's X, Y, Z. But
yeah, it's a typical thing. Mark, we'll always have your back. So far, you've been doing a great job. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. 125 guy. Goblins, the haters are always going to hate. If a video helps just one person, then it has been worth the effort you put into it. Exactly. That's my attitude. As long as it helps someone, then that's all I really care about. So I'm glad that I'm not the only person that thinks like that. Travis, how much do you pay on the 14? I'm assuming this is in regards to insurance. Right, this is a tough one because Monday's video, the one we released this week, we actually talk a little bit about insurance because I have a multi-bike policy for both the ZZR and the ZH2. So it's difficult to say exactly how much one would be over the other. The ZZR is definitely cheaper to insure. It was a 2016 model. And I think the last time I insured it on its own, it was roughly £300 for the year. So it wasn't that much. Maybe less, maybe £250 for the year. And that was fully comp as well. But that was a few years ago now. We're talking 2 or 3 years ago when I insured that bike separately. So, yeah, that's the thing. Because now I don't know if that's a good price or not because it's so skewed now with the multi-bike policy on the ZH2. So
that took us a while to find that, didn't it? But you talk about it in the video, don't you?
Yeah, go check out Monday's video. I talk about that in a little bit more detail. But yeah, because that's the thing. Funnily enough, actually talking about insurance cons, one of the biggest cons with insurance is the fact that you can't use no claims bonus on 2 different policies. It has to be the same policy. So if you have 2 different motorcycles, or if you're a car enthusiast and you have more than one car, then in order to get the best price, you have to try and get a multi-car or a multi-bike policy so you can apply the no claims bonus. It's a nightmare. Like, why one vehicle? Why can't it be 2 or 3 or 4 vehicles? You know? So it means then that if you want to insure them separately, then you have one of them for the no claims discount and you have to apply with the other one without. It's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, that's something else. Mark, £106 for a ZZR 1400. Good. Yeah, that's a really good price, I think. Bike Herb, Goblin, in Japan, insurance comes with the MOT. Third party only, but insurance nonetheless. This means that you can ride your friends' bikes without paying anything. UK should adopt. That's a really good idea.
What part of Japan do you live in?
That's a really good idea.
Just really curious.
MOT. I mean, to have third-party insurance come with just with an MOT, it makes a load of sense. I never thought about that before.
You said the MOT is done every 2 years.
Yeah, so basically, as long as you have an MOT on a motorcycle, then you have insurance.
God, that's a good deal, isn't it?
And you can choose, if you like, to buy a better policy. Yeah, that's really interesting. Really interesting. ZX7R, this bike hub again. ZX7R was £161 a year as a classic. Mackenzie Hodgson wanted £1,800. Bloody hell. It's crazy, man. The difference in the values of different insurers. Mental. Yeah, Dope Style Gaming, that's a system I'd like to see in the UK. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bike Hub, dope. Every MOT is every 2 years, and it costs about £400, including insurance. It's
not bad, is it? I imagine the services on top of the MOT are separate.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. That £400, because an MOT in the UK costs 35 quid, between 30 and 40 quid usually. So Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting. Have to wait out.
It is interesting. It's very interesting. Call on accident management. I don't like the sound of that. I wouldn't sign that either. Sounds more like insurance compensation nullification. That's exactly what it is. So yeah, you are basically accepting that the insurance company is selling.
No responsibility.
Yeah, has no responsibility over your claim. That's exactly what it is.
So many people would not have read that. They would just gone, oh, it's probably just settled the claim, done it, and they find out they have no rights then because they've signed a legally binding document.
Yeah. Oh, bike curb. That being said, my hospital fee was 20k without insurance. After insurance, it was 1k. That's a lot. But hey, I mean, that's how it is in a lot of the world. We're lucky in the UK where we have public health service.
And private as an optional.
Private's optional, yeah. We don't have to pay a thing for our healthcare. So, yeah, you win some, you lose some, I suppose, in different countries, don't you? Yeah. Bike up, skimp on your insurance and you're going to have issues. It's just the sad state of the modern world as it is. See, you say that, but the whole reason why these insurance companies are trying to, well, when you think about insurance companies, it's a competitive market, so you want to make sure that you can provide the cheapest quotes. So I don't think it's a bad thing looking for the cheapest quotes. If you know exactly what you're buying, then that should be pretty legit. But I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe there are these cowboy insurance companies that just think they can sell insurance, and then if there is a claim, they just, sell it off to someone else and let someone else take care of it. Yeah, make it their problem. My insurance got more expensive when I clicked on a higher voluntary excess.
That seems backwards.
That's exactly the opposite with us, with our insurance. If I always put down 0 voluntary excess, but if you do put on, say, £100 or £200 voluntary excess, then for us it's made insurance cheaper.
We were doing it with my car the other day, weren't we?
Literally.
We start with 0 and then we worked our way up.
And the funny thing is that so if you put 0 down as compulsory excess, usually the voluntary excess obviously is really high. But if you put in, say, 150 quid voluntary excess, the actual total amount of excess that you'll pay is actually exactly the same as if you put 0 for voluntary. So again, when you're looking at comparing insurance, make sure you test with 0 compulsory voluntary excess and a little bit of voluntary excess as well, because you might actually find you get yourself a better deal, but the excess is maybe 50 quid more in total, even though you put 150 quid down voluntary. For example, if I put none down for one application, the compulsory excess would be 500 quid, for example. If I put down 150 quid voluntary, then the compulsory excess would then actually go down to 300 quid or something like that. So you're only paying 50 quid more for your excess, but your policy is actually cheaper. So yeah. It's again. Come on, man. Should it really be this bloody complicated? Is there anything in there that you've seen, Wifey, that you want to mention?
Well, hello to Gentleman Rider and Crypto Rider. Hello.
No, guys, good to see you.
David said he does wear a helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like most of the Harley Davidson cruiser riders don't wear helmets. The feeling of freedom, I suppose.
Yeah.
Mark has said, when reading haters, always keep this in mind. DILLIGAF. Do I look like I give a fudge? Obviously. Replace any of those letters with other words that you feel, but for YouTube, that's what we'll say.
Call on. I see justice is no better across the pond than it is over here.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? It is true.
I think I'm towards the bottom now and yours, so we'll just pick them out, I guess. Crypto Rider, I got some hate on my video for calling my mirrors wing mirrors. Apparently my bike doesn't have wings. It can have wings if you want it to have wings. I mean, seriously, what a thing to pick up.
It's crazy. There's some of the things that people comment. Oh, dear.
The thing is, sometimes there's a certain word that I can't think of, and I'll say something that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And everyone else would know exactly what I meant, but someone has to pick up and pick it out, and I'm just like, I know what I mean.
But those are the comments you can ignore. because
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, whatever.
I know.
You know,
but
like, fine, be like that.
that's a proper Karen moment, isn't it, though?
Yeah,
I'm going
to
to
be
correct you because you've said something wrong.
To be fair, yeah, it is.
Oh.
Got quite a lot of messages in the chat here, guys, so I don't think we're going to be able to get through everything tonight. Apologies. But we've said hello to everybody, haven't we?
Yeah.
We haven't missed anyone. Mark SG, good to see you.
Welcome.
Just says message retracted here, so
there's
didn't
more
see
towards
what
the
you
bottom.
put down, but
I'm
there you
actually in SA working this week.
oh, nice.
Is that South Africa?
South Africa, yeah, fair play.
Adelaide. Very nice.
Ooh.
My mum grew up in South Africa.
Well, Adelaide is in Australia, darling.
Why did I say SA then? South Africa. I said I'm actually in South Africa this week. SA. That's South.
Unless there is another
Australia?
Adelaide in South Africa.
I don't know.
Broken Hill, Adelaide, Mount Gambier.
I
Not
took
sure.
geography, and for 2 years we learned how to recycle. So that is kind of South Australia. There we go. It's just me not knowing where things are on a map.
Yeah. Adelaide's in Australia.
I have to use my sat nav for everything.
So I imagine Mark SG is probably working, a load of different places. Yeah, fair play.
See, for me, SA, South Africa. But
Yeah.
then I've missed a bunch of comments where you're talking about Australia. So that's my embarrassing moment for today. Dope Style says, it's quite interesting because I do plan to own in the region of 3 motorcycles. That's quite small compared to how many you want to own. And I currently have zero idea as to how to go about it.
Yeah, it's
a process, isn't it?
It's not something that happens overnight. And it's a big commitment. It's a really big commitment.
I think you have to have time to be able to ride them all, haven't you?
Well, it's kind of like what I was saying about a similar thing in Monday's video, where there is going to be a point of diminishing returns where you simply, like you say, don't have the time to ride all your bikes. So you're going to end up riding 1 or 2 more than the rest of them. Yeah, I mean, it's not a problem at the moment for me with the 2 bikes, but yeah, I can see how when you start owning 3, 4, 5 bikes, that's when it becomes an issue. So, yeah. Yeah, honestly, childhood dream of mine, to own a garage full of bikes. Just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. No, actually, no. I remember when I was a kid growing up, there was one of our neighbours. They actually lived on the behind our house, so our gardens connected together. And he had a garage full of bikes. And I was like, wow, I need that.
I want to be him.
There was green, red, blue, so much, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't know that neighbour, unfortunately. I was friends with a kid that lived next door, but yeah, whenever I go around his house, I would see him in his garage with his garage door open, messing around with his bikes and stuff. And
well, I think it's safe to say we definitely covered the green portion of the bikes.
yeah, I mean this is mid 2000s, something like that, when we lived there. But yeah, it's brilliant. And I suppose that's influenced my image of
your
my childhood dream, I suppose. But yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. But anyway, I mean, I think if you take anything away from this video, guys, is just keep an eye out for shady things happening with your insurance company. And the thing is, if it happens here in the UK, you can pretty much guarantee that's going to happen everywhere around the world. Because like I said earlier, insurance isn't providing a service, it's a financial service. And basically anything that involves money, they will sell it. If they think that someone will buy it off them, buy the debt, then they will sell it, because then it's not their problem anymore. And it's things like that you got to really look out for. And yeah, if you ever get any documentation like that saying things that you're like, no, that doesn't seem quite right, then definitely go ahead and ask your insurance company about it. Or maybe even get independent advice, and yeah, just to make sure that you're not going to end up getting really royally screwed by your insurance company, because yeah, I bet this stuff happens every day and people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just keep an eye out for things like that, and hopefully none of us get screwed over in future. But I mean, that's why we made this show today dedicated on this topic, is because there is no information about this anywhere. I actually a few weeks ago I heard about this. I don't know if it was to do with motorcycles or cars, but I heard about this practice. And then all of a sudden, we had this ride magazine that was saying about the same thing. I was like, man, And yeah, we searched it and couldn't find anything. So yeah,
It's all very hush hush.
it is a big deal. And it should be illegal. Should be illegal. If an insurance company signs a contract with you, then that contract should be with you and you alone, not with some other third party that you haven't invested your money in.
Well, there should at least be some transparency if your policy has been sold because the company's gone insolvent, for instance.
If there are legitimate reasons for them to sell your claim, your policy onto another provider, then that's fine. But when there's no reason for it, when it's just because they cannot be bothered to deal with it themselves, that for me is just
not on.
Absolutely not on. So, but anyway, everyone, thank you ever so much for watching today's show. I hope you found it informative. And yeah, I mean, we all know insurance is a pain in the ass in every sense of the word. So, but hopefully today's show is giving you some things to look out for if you have recently been involved in a crash or something like that. Fingers crossed that you haven't and you never will, but unfortunately it does happen. So yeah, just look out, keep an eye out, because we're in this for you guys. We don't work for insurance companies or anything like that. And even if we did, I'd still highlight the issues with them anyway, because that's the person I like to be. I like to be honest. And if something is shit, then I'm going to say it.
You swore.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's the end of the show anyway. YouTube doesn't care at this point.
They've stopped monitoring us.
But anyway, yeah, thank you ever so much again for watching. Tomorrow's video is going to be interesting, so make sure you tune into that one. It's going to be released at 12 o'clock UK time. If we don't see you tomorrow, then have a good weekend, and yeah, we'll catch you all next week. Are you going to say it?
Right to say.
You don't have to wait for me.
I'm just waiting to make sure you have anything else you wanted to say. Don't cut you off.
Because then if I say it, she has a go at me.
It's my phrase. Get your own.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, yeah, thanks again for watching. We'll see you again soon. Have a good one. Bike up swearer. Oh, yeah. It's only one. It's only one word.
How it starts. It's a slippery slope.
Call on, I volunteered to cover Team Blue. Awesome. I love the way how all the bike manufacturers, it's like what we were talking about a few weeks ago when we were saying about how each company's got their own colours. Even though you could buy one of their bikes in a different colour, you associate a colour with them. And yeah, you got green for Kawi, you got red for Honda, and you got
blue for Suzuki.
Blue for Yamaha.
Blue for Suzuki for me.
Yeah, but I don't know. Suzuki's colour, I don't know what. It might be white,
Don't know.
Suzuki's colour might be white. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's
interesting
awesome.
One.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I like to wait a sec.